Hello, I hope you've had a good week. We're going to be doing a shir in Yecheskel, Perek. This shir, like all of our shirim, are dedicated to Racheleah, Bas Reb Chaim Tzvi. May this be an aliyah for her neshama, and make all of the tikkunim that Yecheskel tells us have to be made. Let them all happen in a way in which we could live with them b'simcha v'tuv levav and come back to Hashem. So the topic in Perek Chaf, which is a very difficult Perek to hear. It's a painful Perek. It begins with people asking a question that today has become a classical question. Could you vote out of being Jewish? Suppose you just don't want it. You don't want the geula, and you don't want the mitzvot, and you don't want the ecstasy, and you don't want the connection, and you don't want the mitzvahs, and you don't want the gulos, and you don't want any of it. Suppose you just want to sit back and live in Idaho and have a cheeseburger. Is it possible to get out of the covenant? So you could ask, why would anybody be asking this question? So the answer is that we become spiritually weary. And another reason is that the physical world is so much more vivid, much more shallow, but much more vivid than the spiritual world. We lose track of reality. So I want to speak briefly about both of these problems, especially the second one, or exclusively the second one. So the outside and the inside are two facets of reality, but the only one we see with our eyes is the outside. So I want you to envision someone winning a beauty contest. So, the music, the crown, the scepter, they actually give them a scepter, which I always thought beauty contests were humorous, but I have a tendency, by the way, to laugh at the wrong time when I'm with other people, which has never got me a lot of affection. So picture me as a young child watching Miss America, the Miss America pageant with other adults in the room, where they're all glued, who's going to, I'm going, whatever. It doesn't work. But where's she going to be 20 years from now? What was the fate of Cinderella and the prince? They go up the stairs, and they're going to live happily ever after. If he loved her for her small feet, is that going to last very long? So we know this intellectually, but we don't know it emotionally. We get very tied up. I was reading a very interesting article written by a young man who was a member in I think it's the most exclusive of all of the Israeli brigades that are trained to do big stuff. It's called Shayetet 13. So the selection process, the exclusivity, you have to be not only in perfect shape physically, but quick to respond, sharp in your reasoning ability, able to do different things immediately in the face of changing circumstances that you can't anticipate. And then you go through training that's almost 2 years. Then you serve a year, and they have to sign on for another 1.5 years. So why am I telling you this? So throughout this entire period until they're actually finished, a lot of guys drop out. A lot of guys are taken out by their selection process. So the guys who are in to the very end feel a great deal of bonding with each other, and they also feel a great deal of pride in who they are. Where are they going to be in 20 years? So the subject of the interview was talking about this. There's a concept in Hebrew called gavat gedud, the pride of belonging to the group. So afterwards, he did his usual tour of the world that guys in secular Israel do after the army, and he discovered the fun and empowerment of making money. And before you know it, he's running a big business. Okay, so he's in fashion, not on the design side, not even in marketing, but way above that, then he realized, his life really has no meaning. Really, really, really. Now this guy's bright. Most people wouldn't pick that up. And the reason is that the prizes in the Cracker Jack box, those little plastic prizes, they're real, you could touch them. And meaning is abstract. So this is the problem. The people here are suffering. They're suffering because of the kind of spiraling behavior we discussed in the previous prakim. And now let's see what happens. Vayehi b'shana hashvi'it, and it was in the 7th year. B'chamisha asar